Let's go. Let's go. The Ocala Real Estate Channel. So we're going to be talking about very interesting. Like I feel like there's been a market correction, lots of excitement. We're seeing more activity than we've seen probably in about 8 months. What we know about the Marion County market is Marion County has actually stayed pretty stable. And how we know that is that the inventory has actually been pretty stable. We've bounced around. It was light, like really crazy light. We're in like in the 850 range, 850 homes in the entire Marion County. This is a year, about early, it's about a year ago, actually, just about 10 months ago, right? Spring of 2021 or 2022 rather. And we've seen the increase in inventory because the interest rates went up. And now what we're seeing is that inventory has actually stayed steady. We've been bouncing around. We're at about 2,600 homes. We've been bouncing around from like 27 to 29, and then it's come down to 28, then 27, and it's come down a little bit further because the interest rates now, the fixed rate, and this is January 20th, 2023, the fixed rate is now at 5.75 for a 30-year, and it'd be a little bit less for a 15. So, and I always recommend 15-year mortgages, by the way. Some people might argue with that. It's it's first of all, you're going to pay less in interest. It forces you to make sure that you're going to pay off your home. Assuming you could afford it, 15-year notes make a lot of sense because, you know, if you're buying, and you're about 30 years old or 40 years old, at least you can have a paid for home by the time you're 50. I think that's always a smart play. But looking at Marion County numbers here, as you're seeing on the chart, last 5-year numbers closed on a monthly basis. December of 2022, we saw a number of 700. We saw 646 in November, 774 in October. And if you start looking at all these numbers, obviously in the middle part of the year, the early part of the year, we saw record numbers, over 1,000 in March of 2022, 715 in January, 770 in February. Those were record numbers for those respective months. If you look at it, obviously when we hit April, we also saw the interest rates go up. Then we no longer had a record setting month. 2021 was a better year as far as April goes. And then you look at May beat 2021. June was better in 2021 than it was in 2022. The same thing with July, same thing with August, same thing with September. And actually now, if you look at the September numbers at 680 from last year, those were rivaling, 2018 numbers. Like 680 is September was a real light, compared to what we saw last year or, 2021 September, those differences, that's over 200 home difference there. I mean, that's a 25% drop in sales from September 21 to September 22. However, we didn't see the drop in average sales price. Why is that? Because the inventory being light-ish, less inventory on the market, that really was helpful. And it's all predicated on, population cycles in the United States, millennials, having so many millennials in the country, so many people that are entering into family starting stage, like early 30s, mid 30s, that type of thing. And, they're getting out of rentals and getting into their first home. We saw a lot of that across the country, and we saw a lot of that in Marion County. And we're also seeing a lot of people retire in our area. A lot of people are coming to our area, and they're seeing that they can, and we're getting these calls of people that are calling up and saying, we want to find a home between 250 to 350. And I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I want a decent area. Sometimes in a 55 plus, sometimes not. But whatever it may be, it's findable here. Now, what we have to remember is the people that are old school Marion County Ocalans, they've been here for forever. Like I've lived in Ocala since 1995. We tend to look at, Marion County pricing with colored glasses, meaning we remember the days of like $60,000 homes and $80,000. My first home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, in the northeast part of Ocala. We bought, I think, for like, mid to upper 80s at most. And that was in 1997. And guess what? Now that home is probably pretty close to being worth, 275, 300-ish. it's in that bracket. So you think, oh my God, it's so expensive. But the reality is, compared to everybody else around the country, it's still a pretty good deal. And especially when you look outside, it's not February yet, but the weather is absolutely gorgeous. And you compare it to anywhere else around the country, and a lot of people kind of like it over here, right? And there's a lot of advantages to moving to Ocala. So basically, what we're seeing is a little bit of a return to 2019. It's like kind of like a mixture of the 2018 to 2019 market. That's very much what we're seeing right now, and a lot of it has to do with a mixture of the interest rates coming down. We were in the sevens, and people were feeling very pessimistic about the marketplace. And now we're looking at 5.75 for for a 30-year fixed. That gives people a lot of encouragement, and people are feeling very, very good about, or better about the real estate market compared to what they were feeling about the market as early as late last year, early part of this year. Kind of a pessimistic feeling about it. And if you go back 4 or 5 months, people are thinking, oh my gosh, interest rate's going to be 8, 9, 10%, and inflation's getting out of hand. But who says that doesn't happen? I don't know. But right now we're in the 5s, so that's really spurring the real estate market along for sure. And that's why I think it's a pretty good time to buy if you kind of look at the market right now. 7-day numbers for Marion County: 260 new listings, which is a healthy number. Price increases 65, price decreases 349. That's pretty significant. So people are adjusting their pricing so they can get their home sold. We had 130 close from January 1, last 7 days, sorry, last 7-day numbers. So 130 homes sold and last closed, and which is what sold is, over the last 7 days. And then pending numbers 256, meaning a house was attractive enough for a buyer to put in an offer and have it get accepted by a seller. They came to a meeting of the minds, and we've got an agreement on terms in a real estate contract. So 256 under contract compared to 260 new listings. That's a pretty even market, meaning we're not seeing any growth in the number of homes that are hitting the marketplace right now. So that's a true indicator as to what's going on. A little bit of a tidbit. This is kind of an added bonus for folks that are buying homes. Actually, it really doesn't matter where you're buying it, but it did come up recently in one of our dealings here in Florida, in Ocala, where people need to watch out for something called FIRPTA. FIRPTA is, if you're buying a home from a foreign seller, make sure you understand whether the owner of the property that you are buying is a foreign seller or not. Because if they're not a U.S. citizen, then there could be taxes that need to be withheld by the IRS by the seller. If it is not withheld, then the buyer could be subject and responsible for this particular shortfall, and you don't want to be responsible for this. And I know this sounds super backwards and a little bit confusing, but the bottom line is, know that there's something called FIRPTA, and ask your real estate agent, ask your realtor. And it's not just in Florida, it's everywhere. This is a U.S. government law, and this has to do with the IRS. Make sure you understand what that is, and understand when you're buying, make sure that you understand what the situation is with the seller. If you have questions, let me know. My name is Glenn, 352-572-3796. Also, please if you like this video, think it's worthwhile, please like it, hit the thumbs up, and also please subscribe. That would be great. Take care.